Solo TV 84, back from Austin. So I got to interview businessman, crypto enthusiast, millionaire Diego from the 100X team. There is some glitching. I do apologize. This only happened in this interview, but regardless, Austin was a phenomenal experience, which has changed my mindset in regards to abundance and the focus. It's really shifted my focus. And we're going to get into this, man. This interview is fire. Diego, what up? Let's get this money, dog. Let's get this. Hey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with entrepreneur, fitness guru, crypto advisor, Diego. Diego, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Doing great. It's a pleasure to meet you here, visiting my boy Ian from Miami and Austin. Beautiful city. So it's great to be here, man.
Yeah, it's dope to meet the legendary Diego because, you know, like Ian was saying, you know, I've known those guys before. They, you know, blew up in the crypto scene and then they just took off. And then while they were blowing up, like they were really blowing up, and you were the part of that, right? I was kind of low key blowing up on YouTube, but in regards to that with 2017, let's go back a little bit. How did you, before we talk about the main topic, how did you even get into crypto? Like,
it's crazy. So I had just finished my second venture, which was cattle. I had bought like 300 cows in Colombia.
Okay.
And that was a 9-month venture. I lost 40K in that business, but I learned so much. It was priceless, right? Because coming from, so I moved to Miami from Colombia when I was 7. And I don't remember much about Colombia. I do remember bits and pieces, but my family in Colombia actually, they made a living off of cattle.
Okay.
But I never really got to experience that whole phase in life, right? I was very young. And then somehow destiny just kind of brought me back to the beginnings.
Right.
And before the crypto scenery came around, it was as if life was preparing me for, you know, the next level, reminding me where I come from.
Yeah.
You know, like don't remember where you come from, but don't lose track of where you're going, right?
Yeah.
So then crypto came around, and that was pretty crazy because I got introduced to crypto through a friend who was a former colleague of Ian's at IBM. His name's Eddie. Yeah. Eddie comes around and he introduces me to Ian's content. Yeah. That was incredible because I saw Ian sharing his portfolio. Yeah. I'm out here trying to flip cows. And Ian is over here, you know, making 30, 40 grand ICO. Yeah. So it caught my attention instantaneously. I asked Eddie, hey, Eddie, I need an introduction to Ian. I got an intro. I was in every single live stream from the beginning of time. I was the first person on there, last person off the live stream, kind of showing love, supporting, learning a lot. He was probably one of the most educational influencers within the space. And then the relationship just started kind of building. I was blessed enough that he invited me to his private syndicate of investors after like about 4 months of building a relationship. And man, the rest is history. You know, we did business for about 5 months before we met in person. And then the first time we met in person was actually in Colombia. So, you know, where I'm from.
Pablo Escobar match.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Dope. Now we were talking a moment ago, you know, when I first met you, I said, man, you used to be on Instagram, right? And now you off, and you said, yeah, I'm low key. And we kind of got into that. But can you get into like what made you decide to get off Instagram? Has it been positive for you, negative? What have been the repercussions of you getting off, you know, social media?
Honestly, the best decision I've ever made. And so basically, I never had Instagram. So I only ever had Instagram for 1 year period, and I'm 29 years old, right? Yeah. So there's not many 20-year-olds, like 29-year-olds that you're gonna meet into, you know, and nowadays that can say that from 2019, never had an Instagram until like 26, when the crypto journey began. I had that for about 1 year, and then I deleted it afterwards simply because it was kind of taking too much of my time. I lost my focus, mainly my sense of rationality. Right? Instagram can make you just an irrational person at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, it was cool. You know, we were kind of traveling the world. We did the crypto world tour with 100x advisors, and that was a lot of fun. Ian was a public figure. He was an influencer. It made sense for people, for his audience, to know like who I was. And so that's really.
And you were one of the partners too, now.
Yeah. I was a managing. So first started co-investing together, then met in person, then started traveling the world, and then halfway through the travels, we decided to make it official and launch 100x Advisors, which currently, you know, it's not really operational. We've kind of pivoted the whole business model.
Right.
It's a cycle. It was.
But you're still in crypto.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I've been in crypto full time for about 3 years. But in terms of Instagram, man, going back to that conversation, you know, it's an illusion, right? For one, you wake up, you check your Instagram, you can easily waste 30 minutes of your life. So I started.
More than that?
Yeah, that's 30 an hour, right? So I started to pick up different habits. So I actually listened to this guy's podcast. His name's Rob Dial. I started listening to Rob Dial approximately 2 years ago, and he has one of the it's called the Mindset Mentor podcast. He has one of the best personal development podcasts that there is, hands down.
Rob Dial.
Yeah, Rob Dial. Yeah, on Spotify, and he started talking a lot of sense in terms of like picking up the right habits. You know, because I've always tried to evolve and become a better person, but it's irrational to think that you're gonna become a better person if you don't change your habits.
Right.
So I started with the basics, and I said, all right, what's taking the majority of my time? IG. So I deleted Instagram. I started meditating in the mornings. I started learning about different meditation styles, and then, you know,
no fabs.
Yeah, no fab was a big thing for me as well. Yeah. And then eventually, I wouldn't see myself going back into the whole Instagram game because I just view life from such a different perspective. It's almost like when I interact with people, right? It's not the case always, but like I'm kind of 3 steps ahead in terms of rationality, right? Like I'm more present, I'm more conscious, right? Like I'm at a Starbucks, I'm sitting down, and I'm looking at a girl in their eyes, and I just see them scrolling, and they're just unconsciously programmed to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, rather than being present in the moment and probably meeting, you know, their dream guy, or meeting the next, or networking with the person next to them that might, you know, provide the next job opportunity or whatever it may be. You know, that's not, at this point, it's just kind of crazy talk, but you definitely become more present, more rational. And I think in order to evolve as a person, that needs to be the case.
You know, I find it interesting because, you know, a lot of people, when they reach a certain amount of success, right, they would actually go the opposite end, meaning like they're like, nah, I'm just gonna, you know, wild out and party more and do this and that. And I'm pretty sure you did a little bit of that. But a lot of people would say, no, I'm just gonna do this and that. And then, you know, what I found, and I said this earlier, the average person who wins the lottery, they're broke within 5 years. So you're talking about developing good habits that don't just help you in the short term, but also in the long term, right? With all of this. When you look at social media, right, and I talk about women a lot, do you think that's one of the reasons that narcissism has gone so high now? Not just in women, but men as well. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think there's different variables to narcissism, right? Instagram is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
A big part of it is, you know, with social media, people are getting used to instant gratification. So they post a picture and then they want the likes right away. Boom, 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 boom. And so they're unconsciously programming themselves to obtain the approval of others rather than the self-approval of their self-approval, right?
Their self-validation.
Yeah. Maybe that doesn't apply to narcissism,
right?
But yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. Because when you're posting pictures, when you're on the gram, it's all about you and showing your life and what you're doing, and it becomes an instant gratification kind of scenario. But at the end of the day, it's a personal instant gratification, right? So, it's what it is, right? That's society. We have to adapt to society, right? But it's important to maintain our balance, right?
Well, one thing I talk about on my channel is that how narcissism has caused entitlement behavior, particularly in women, because now you have women that get a lot of likes from men, right? And eventually that would go to anybody's head because you think, oh, I've got all these guys like me. But now what it's caused is you have women becoming more pickier and pickier. And because you see all these thirsty guys there in the comments saying, oh, you're so hot, oh, you're all that. But the chick might be like a 4 or 5, right? And it's like, you live in Miami, and I've been to Miami as well. And let's be honest, Miami has some of the most beautiful women in the world. But then I've also seen some like ducks, you know what I mean? When you see, hey, that's how we talk on Soul TV.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you see that, where you might see a woman who's subpar or average, but she thinks she's a 9 or 10, even though the men are hitting the likes and saying like thirsty comments, they're not really saying it because they genuinely mean it. They're saying it because they're trying to gas her up so they could maybe shoot their shot, right? But do you think that, I guess what I'm asking is that women are able to differentiate that between real validation and fake? Or do you think that they don't care and that's one of the reasons why you have women who think they're 4s and 5s, they think they're 9s and 10s? You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think in terms of, so I can't really speak for women. I can kind of only speak based on my own personal experiences, right? And what I've noticed is that when women get used to the likes and they get used to the thirst from men or whatever you want to call it, they feel that's their entry, right? Like that is how relationship or the friendship or the engagement begins, with a like, right? Or with likes between men and women. And it's easy for women, right? Because all they have to post is just a thirsty pic and they're gonna have the guys there.
Yeah.
Right? But when it comes to men that are actually self-centered and rational, you know, the beauty is not really something. The beauty is just like one out of so many different variables that are important to us men, right? And the problem with that is that women begin to lack the development of different social abilities when interacting with men in a face-to-face scenario.
Facts.
Right? And so they get used to the easy engagement, but then when it comes to progressing from that, they're blocked because it becomes about, I posted a picture, me, right? And it becomes less about getting to know each other in a intuitive and an organic manner. And I'm huge on intuition. Like I've never had a dating app, right? Because I mean, I don't know what it's like to have a dating app, but if you think about it, right?
Yo, you tell me you had Tinder?
Nah, I never had Tinder.
Even during like a drought, you like, yo, let me swipe right real quick?
Nah, I never had Tinder, right?
Okay.
So, but the reason why is because to me, I know whether I'm gonna like you within 2 seconds from seeing you. Whether it's the fact that you were able to maintain eye contact, or the fact that you were able to kind of flirt back or seduce me in a very short time frame, or the fact that you look like a very self-centered person.
Right.
In Tinder, man, I have no time to waste, right? Like, I'm out here making crypto moves.
Right.
You know, we're trying to change the world with token metrics.
Right.
I got my own investments going on.
Right.
So imagine devoting all this time to a person that's on the other side of a phone, that's expressing themselves. Maybe you like the way they express themselves, like to text or calls or whatever.
Right.
But there might be that one action that once you see them in person that you just like don't like whatsoever. Like it's just not the one for you, and you just wasted like an entire week of time that you could have devoted to your personal development or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So let's move the conversation. This is the last part, I promise. You know, crypto has definitely changed your life. It's changed Ian's life. It's changed my life too. You know, there's been a lot of predictions where Bitcoin, for example, will be in 2021. Citibank, in a leaked document, they said it could possibly go up to 300,000. We've had people say 250, 200. Where's your prediction? And we're not going to hold you to it, but where's your prediction of where you could see Bitcoin going at the end of 2021?